If you've spent any time around old-school gardeners, you've probably heard this one: bury an old penny in your garden and watch your harvest triple. Sounds like the kind of backyard legend your granddad would swear by, right? But here's the twist. There's actually a grain of real plant science hiding inside this strange little trick. Today on Rootshaven Grounds, we're digging into what's really going on, why copper matters more than most gardeners realize, and how you can use this knowledge the right way to boost plant health and productivity, without relying on pocket change and wishful thinking. Let's get our hands dirty. The penny trick has been floating around gardening circles for decades. The idea is simple. Bury an old copper penny in the soil near your plants, and somehow your crops grow bigger, stronger, and more productive. Some folks say it prevents disease. Others say it energizes the soil. A few even claim it scares off pests. Now here's where things get interesting. Old pennies, especially those made before 1982 in the United States, were mostly copper, and copper just happens to be an essential micronutrient for plants. That means plants need it in very small amounts to carry out important life processes. So while the penny itself isn't magical, the mineral it's made from actually does play a role in plant growth. The problem? A coin in the soil is a painfully slow, unreliable way to deliver it. Copper doesn't get as much attention as nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium, but it's crucial behind the scenes. Plants use copper in enzyme systems that drive photosynthesis and respiration. Without enough copper, plants struggle to convert energy efficiently, and that leads to weak growth and poor yields. Copper also helps plants form lignin, which strengthens cell walls. Stronger cell walls mean sturdier stems, better disease resistance, and improved overall structure. That alone can make a noticeable difference in how well a plant supports flowers and fruit. In fruiting crops like tomatoes, peppers, beans, and squash, proper micronutrient balance, including copper, can influence flowering, pollination success, and fruit development. When plants are just a little deficient, yields can quietly suffer without obvious dramatic symptoms. So yes, copper can contribute to better harvests, but the key word here is balance. Here's the honest truth. A penny in the soil releases copper so slowly that your plants might not benefit at all during a single growing season. Soil chemistry, moisture, pH, and microbial activity all affect how metals break down. In many cases, that coin just sits there looking shiny while your plants carry on unaware. Even if some copper does leach out, there's no control over the amount. Too little does nothing. Too much copper can actually become toxic, harming roots and beneficial soil organisms. That's why commercial growers don't toss spare change into their fields. They use carefully measured micronutrient applications. The real takeaway from the penny myth isn't the coin, it's the reminder that micronutrients can quietly limit your harvest even when everything else seems fine. Copper deficiency isn't always obvious, but there are clues. Young leaves may appear twisted, pale, or wilted even when water is adequate. Stems can be weak and floppy. Flowering may be reduced, and fruit set can be disappointing despite healthy foliage. Root crops may stay small. Grain and corn growers sometimes notice poor pollination. In severe cases, plant tips can die back. These symptoms often get blamed on watering issues, pests, or just general poor soil, when the real problem is a missing trace element. This is especially common in sandy soils, peat-heavy soils, or areas with long histories of intensive cropping where micronutrients have been slowly depleted. If the penny trick points us toward anything useful, it's this: don't ignore micronutrients. Instead of burying coins, focus on safe, controlled ways to provide trace minerals when your soil actually needs them. Compost is one of the best long-term solutions. Rich, well-made compost contains a wide spectrum of micronutrients, including copper, in gentle plant-available forms. Regular compost additions help prevent deficiencies without risking toxicity. Another option is a balanced organic trace mineral blend. These are often labeled as micronutrient mixes or trace element fertilizers. They contain copper along with zinc, manganese, boron, and other essential elements in very small, safe amounts. Applied according to directions, they can correct hidden deficiencies that hold plants back. Foliar feeding with a diluted micronutrient spray can also help in season if plants show clear deficiency signs. Here's something many gardeners miss: soil pH controls how available copper is to plants. In very alkaline soils, copper can be present but locked up, making it unavailable to roots. In very acidic soils, copper can become too available, which may lead to toxicity. Keeping your soil in a slightly acidic to neutral range, around 6.0 to 7.0 for most vegetables, helps maintain proper micronutrient balance. Adding compost, mulching, and avoiding excessive lime use all support a healthier pH over time. Before adding any micronutrient product, a soil test is incredibly helpful. It takes the guesswork out and prevents you from adding what you don't need. There's another reason copper earned its legendary status in gardens. Copper-based sprays have long been used as fungicides. Bordeaux mixture, a traditional blend of copper sulfate and lime, has been protecting crops from fungal diseases for over a century. This might be part of how the penny myth started. Gardeners noticed that copper products reduced plant diseases, leading to healthier plants and better yields. Modern copper fungicides are still used today, but carefully and sparingly. Excessive copper buildup in soil can harm earthworms and beneficial microbes, so it's not something to use casually. If we're being real with each other here at Rootshaven Grounds, there's no single magic object that triples yields, but, there are these small, often overlooked factors that stack together to make a huge difference. Balanced nutrition, including micronutrients, is one piece. Healthy soil rich in organic matter is another. Proper spacing, consistent watering, good sunlight exposure, and choosing productive varieties all multiply your results. When plants aren't struggling with hidden deficiencies, they put more energy into flowering and fruiting, and when soil life is thriving, roots explore more space and access more nutrients. When stress is reduced, harvests increase naturally. So while the penny won't perform miracles, the lesson behind it absolutely can. I actually love these old gardening tales because buried inside many of them is a spark of truth. The trick is really separating folklore from science and then using that knowledge in a practical, safe way. So, instead of tossing coins into your beds, just build your soil. Feed it compost, use diverse organic inputs, and, if your soil has been heavily used for years, consider trace mineral blends. Oh, and keep an eye on plant health beyond just the big three nutrients. That's how you get stronger plants, heavier fruit sets, and honestly, more reliable harvests season after season. And honestly, that's way more powerful than spare change. Gardening is full of surprises, and sometimes the weirdest stories lead us to the most valuable lessons. If you love uncovering the truth behind old-school growing tricks and turning them into real practical results, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Rootshaven Grounds, share this with a fellow gardener who's heard the penny myth, and let's keep growing smarter and bigger together.